Welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast. We are glad you're with us. What is it like to become a pilot in your 40s and 50s? The challenges are unique for those of us in midlife, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences of being a midlife pilot. Join the Midlife Pilot community and listen in every week. We are not CFIs or particularly intelligent, so if you want to learn how to fly, talk to anyone else other than the hosts of a podcast. Even this intro was too challenging for us, and we used a robot to do it. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to episode 162 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast, where we share the experiences and challenges of flying in midlife. This is going to be the first episode in a three-part series we're calling The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Midlife Pilot. My name is Ben, and I am a pilot based in the Atlanta metro area. And joining me tonight, as always, we'll start with this guy below me on the screen. He is in the heart of Music Row, flying a Cherokee 180. His name's Brian Siskin. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm standing for the first time at 162 episodes. It took for me to and our friend Gita Brown's already in the chat saying, whenever I see a midlifer standing, I feel sympathetic, low back strain. Well, thank you very much. That's where we are. I had my first major lumbar event, and I'm feeling more midlife than ever. So this is super exciting. And I'm also excited about this episode, the first of three, The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Midlife Pilot. We've compiled an amazing 32-page or 23-page or
it's 28.
Yeah, 28. A very large document.
There we go.
Dozens.
A very large PDF.
More than 20 and less than 40.
That we have all chipped in on, and we sourced this a lot from our community, what's been happening in Discord for a long time. So anyway, super excited about all that, and we'll get more into it.
Awesome. Also joining us tonight from the left coast, our sport pilot extraordinaire, Timestamp Tedder. Good evening, sir.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Yeah. 23 pages. I had to count at two fingers.
Nice. Wanted to talk to everybody about the big event we have coming up. That is the Thaden Invasion. We're going to Bentonville, Arkansas, where it's going to be March 13th through the 15th, 2026. Getting a lot of RSVPs, which we love. You can do so on our website. We'd like to know who's coming. But please we're working on logistics and some additional information, so we're going to ask for a little bit more patience and we'll roll that information out once we get it all pulled together. So keep your eyes and ears out for that.
And we did come to a conclusion that this will only be a success if we get our own NOTAM.
That's we're hoping to go down in NOTAM history as a podcast-led NOTAM. It's going to be a whole new category.
Also, set your expectations low. We'll make sure to get you the information about getting there before you need to leave to get there. That's as much as we're going to promise, is at least a day or two in advance. No,
yeah.
We'll get it.
And there's no promises here.
Yeah,
this is, hey, we're all descending on this place right now. The best we can say is first come, first serve. There's not reservations. There's not, you know what I mean? There's not you can't get a spot with your name on it. It's going to be, I think if you need parking, just go ahead and head over there this week. And we'll get it sorted out. We're going to come up with something nice, and everybody will get something that they can put in their window and all that stuff. So they'll know that you're with us. We'll get it together.
Hey, Brian, why don't you go ahead and hit the belly scrubbing for us?
Real quick, yes. You guys, you listeners, you can join our Patreon community for Discord access and lots of exclusive content. 10% supports Freedom Aviation Network's anti-human trafficking efforts. Also, you can fly for them. Ben, I know you did a recent flight for them, yes, which is awesome. For everything Midlife Pilot Podcast, feedback, merch, and more, visit midlifepilotpodcast.com. And if anybody in the chat or listening wants to go ahead and get a jump on what we're talking about, you'll also find on midlifepilotpodcast.com right now as of just a couple of hours ago, a big old link right in the top that is where you can download the PDF that is the 23-page ultimate guide to becoming a midlife pilot.
Very good. Ted, before we get to the Patreon, I do want to make a quick mention. So we are excited about this episode, but everybody that's listening to us in the audio version, make sure you stick around for this episode because we do have some feedback that we're going to get to at the end of the show. But Ted, why don't you go ahead and talk about our new Patreon members and Discord accomplishments?
Yeah, we have a bunch of new people on Patreon and such this week. So I want to thank our new people. At the Hershey Bar level, we have Francis A. and Chris. At the Beast Stole Kit level, we have Aaron C., BJS, F, and Fred T. Hi, Dad. And PayPal drops this week is Comanche Sue and Doug F. That's a Delta Foxtrot who's flown with me. So thank you all for joining us and for doing the PayPal drops. That means a lot.
Does that mean that you know personally everybody that's coming through the doors here? Are you strong-arming people for PayPal drops? What are you doing?
Both my parents are now Patreon supporters, so I don't know if they realize that or not. Yeah. And in the Discord world this week, I kind of rolled up our accomplishments. Boo Radley passed their checkride in Australia.
Nice, congrats.
Posted some large numbers there, which is perfect. Matt T got his tail wheel and said, I now have access to the least economical and most fun way to get from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a very Brian Siskin thing to say. Our friend Virgil, Plain Places, did upset and the CFI spin recovery. I wrote it down as CFI spin, but I think the recovery is more important. Yes. So it sounds like a fun week. And Nathan, Cheapskate Aviation, took two of his kids up and realized that one of his kids was very excited to fly just because of the FBO snacks. So these are all very midlife accomplishments, and I love it. It's just like this. It's just like this smorgasbord of events going on. So yeah, that was cool.
Speaking of that, have any of you been to a Millionaire FBO before? So they have one in Birmingham. And let me tell you something.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Oh, man. Well, so it's not only do they have just cookies, but they literally, if you're like going to get on as a passenger and you're going through this FBO, they actually have a free wet bar where you can go and mix your own cocktails at no cost.
Speaking of Virgil, yeah.
They had their own refrigerator with every type of drink, especially the ones, the peace teas and, all the Red Bulls and they were so nice. So we did a night flight with Evan and I went over to Birmingham. And I'm going to tell you, that is one of the best FBOs I've ever been to. I told them I'd give them a shout out. They're like, what is a Midlife Pilot podcast? We don't know, but thank you. But still, It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, this is what I was going to ask you. Plain Places asked. He said the crew cars are Mercedes there, because that's what I thought you were going to say. It was that they have very premium cars.
Yeah, the one that was in the parking lot was like a 2025 Honda Odyssey, but completely decked out. So, I mean, if you got to carry a lot of people, it was perfect. I have gone there before during the day, and yes, I drove a Mercedes to lunch. So at a meet and three, which was a lot of fun.
Do you ever find yourself thrown off when there's a really intense high service level at any business?
Yeah. I always feel suspicious as a feral cat. I'm like, I don't like this. Yeah.
This is what do you want from me?
Yes.
I told her we just came in to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, listen, I'm just in a cheap Cessna 182. I'm not flying a jet. You don't have to provide all these services to me. Nathan Ballard in our chat said, Millionaire in White Plains, New York is the best, fanciest FBO ever. It feels like they are treating you like everybody flies Gulfstreams. It just they make you feel that way.
Do they charge you a landing fee that's the same as the Gulfstream?
So I asked. I said, I'm willing to pay a landing fee. I didn't really need any gas. She's like, nah, you're good. No landing fees, no nothing.
All right. So we can all descend on Birmingham Millionaire and just say, Ben said it's all just, you can come here and drink and hang out and it's all
That's
free.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Maybe we should do
anything. I just need a bathroom. All right.
Yeah, we'll just maybe do the next fly-in there at a Millionaire FBO somewhere.
It is amazing the disparity of service levels at FBOs. Maybe we should do our top 10, worst 10 or something. But that's awesome. So, I'm glad you had that experience.
So again, we've teased it enough. Let's get right into it. We're calling this first episode the Midlife Pilot Awakening. As we said, this is going to be a 3-part series. We've published this document. It's the ultimate guide to becoming a midlife pilot, which you could find on our website at midlifepilotpodcast.com. And so we want to get into this, and Brian, maybe you can help me set it up.
Sure.
We're going to start out with the decision to start and the mindset.
Yeah. And maybe just even stepping back a little bit, we really just thought beginning of the year is a great time to just reset. And we've covered a lot of things over the last year, 2 years. And we thought it was important to get back to some of the roots here because we've been getting a little bit in the weeds with some very particular things, which is great for very experienced pilots. And it's things that we can kick around. Not that we're very experienced, somewhat experienced pilots, whatever. But the point here is that we are very dedicated and always focused on being a place that is inviting for new people that don't know how to get started to come and get acclimated and get pointed in the right direction. And I have had even people, and I'm sure a lot of you have too. You have people coming up. I had somebody come up to me last week asking me all the questions, how much does it cost? Is it really something you think that I could do? All of this. And I said, yeah, and you want to be positive with people and you want to be encouraging, but you want to be realistic. We're all in here navigating all of these variables, the medical aspect, the, regional availability of things, or, all these different variables. And midlife is a very massive part of this. What are we doing at this stage in our lives where we can work this in? So we just thought it would be really important to create a document that is now something that you can just send to anybody that is a midlife pilot, an aspiring midlife pilot. And it will get them so much further down the road. If somebody would have sent me this thing the day that I was really digging into all this, I would have been massively ahead. So that was really the impetus. And we thought, why don't we take 3 episodes and go over logically all of this 23-page. It's not a manifesto, is it? No, it's not. No. So
that's a little strong.
A little strong. It's a little Kaczynski, So, so the idea is we're going to go over this, and we want the chat to chime in. We want to add extra texture to this, but we want it to be something where at the end we have 3 episodes that covers the entirety of this document. Where if any of you down the road have anybody that you would like to have start flying, or at least be educated on how to start flying, when people ask you, you can say, listen to these 3 episodes and take this document. And so that's really the intention. Reset, back to the beginning. What can we do to help people get started? Because it's a lot. We all know this, that have done this. So whether you're thinking about learning to fly or whether you're already a pilot, this series has something for you. For aspiring pilots, we're sharing the collective wisdom of hundreds in our community who started at 40, 50, 60 and beyond. For current pilots, this is your toolkit for helping friends, family, and colleagues who ask that inevitable question, how do I learn to fly? So today we're covering Midlife Aviation Awakening, why this journey is fundamentally different, the mind shift required, and why community matters so much and is so helpful. And that's the biggest thing that we can bring and that you all can bring to help welcome others in. So current pilots, you'll recognize a lot of these insights and have a lot of stories to add. We want to hear all that. So make sure you email us at midlifepilotpodcast@gmail.com. This document is a living thing. We can update it annually or whatever. So we can fold new things in, but it should be clear. This document already has quotes, anonymized, but a lot of direct input from the community. This is not something that Brian, Ted, and Ben wrote from our point of view. This is really the sort of culmination of the entire community. So I think that where this thing kind of bookends, and I think where a lot of midlife pilots start and finish, is it starts with something wider than I'd like to learn how to fly, or I'm curious about aviation, or I always wanted to do that. It actually sits a little deeper. I think there's something about, at this age, you start to think about your legacy. You start to think about what haven't I done yet? And so we're going to kind of book into this conversation, I think, with legacy. But maybe, Ben, you can start in on this. And Ted, you can set our timer now. I saw that coming. So the legacy factor. So Ben, when you're talking to a person that's considering starting to fly, what do you speak to them about when it comes to just sort of the wide view of why it's possible that a midlife person could do this? What are the motivations?
You know, we use this word a lot, and I don't know that to non-pilots, they understand the word, but they don't really truly understand its context and its mission. What do you want to do when you get your license? And I've found several people that I've talked with that are like, I don't know, go fly around. And then it's not until after they start flying that they realize the utility of getting places a lot quicker or going further distance for a day, or who knows, maybe even pursue a second career. They don't know it until they start their journey. And I think that's very important to people that, you know, for me, I always want to learn how to fly. I didn't have a reason why I wanted to learn how to fly. But once I got up in the air, things started clicking. Oh, I could take my wife down to the coast in 2 hours instead of 6. And that became a thing. Now, my story is a little bit different in that I was able to get into a partnership of a plane very early on, which enabled me to do that. And the finances also afforded that. So again, there's a lot of different answers to that, but you do need to kind of dig a little deeper and say, why am I doing this? Is it maybe I have 2 friends that went to solo and said, yep, that's all I wanted to do, and left.
Totally fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that one thing that's common at any age is the motivation of, I want to learn how to do this. I am interested in flying, that type of thing. But it's a lot different at 18, scraping your pennies together, getting loans to try and make it to the airlines as soon as possible, or when you're in your midlife and you're doing it as an accomplishment because you've always wanted to fly, whatever combination of things that is. But that's not your primary motivation, is to get to the airlines as quick as possible. So that's one thing that's really different. And for me, being around the airport, it was really noticeable. And that was the thing that was great about finding this community was, oh, there are people here that are here because they enjoy flying, not because they're 19 and just trying to burn through this.
Correct. I think it's really important to have a real honest conversation with yourself about the motivations. And I think that for a lot of us at this stage, if you have kids, if you have, grown kids, you start to think about, what else what legacy can I leave? Do they want you to be just the person that, worked at an insurance company for 27 years and retired? That's a great thing. It's been like what you just did is amazing. By the way, congrats again. But it was 27 years, right?
Right. 27 years with one company, 35 in the industry.
Wow.
See, so what is more important to you for your legacy, right? Your insurance acumen, or what you're doing in aviation? I think that probably insurance, and that's fine. No.
I would strongly disagree. I don't think there's one over the other.
Yeah.
The legacy for me is I feel like I am the first one in my family that has pursued this endeavor, and I've set a path for my kids, all 3 of my boys, to not necessarily with flying, but I set a goal out in midlife to accomplish something, and I did it. And the fact that I had the opportunity to push it further and further is one thing. But if I'd have gotten my private and left it at that, I still would be able to sit there and tell my kids, it doesn't matter what age you're at. Yeah. When you have something that you want to pursue, you can do it.
So that is one thing that I think is common at our age, which is part of the reason for doing it is the accomplishment. It's, can I do it? Can I be terrible at something for the first time in a long time? I don't know. I mean, I'm terrible at things every day, but being terrible at a new thing is not a common experience. And there's such big steps involved in that. And it can be really humbling because you are starting from the bottom, and you haven't started from the bottom since you were in kindergarten. You don't know what that feels like.
And you will land like you're in kindergarten.
Yeah.
For the first several tries, but it is a massive, that's always the first thing that I tell people. I just say, look, you're going to feel so hapless, and you're going to doubt yourself. And that's part of the process. And no one comes through that unscathed. No one has just a perfectly easy time with all the pieces. Some are maybe better with the knowledge areas. Some are better with the more practical flying areas. Some struggle all the way through it. And we've had countless people that in our community that have, had to, go along for another check ride or things like that. But ultimately, and one of the things I love about this community so much is that we celebrate all of the victories, right?
Yes.
As Wendy is saying here in the chat, the willingness to suck is a challenge, and it really is something that we are not used to at this stage in our lives. We're generally all operating in the realm of expertise. And so to have that be upon you again, especially when in many cases, and we'll get into this later, but when your instructor is, 23 years old and looking at you like, like, why aren't you just gathering shopping carts in the parking lot somewhere, right? What are you doing here? So yeah.
Sparky, the
if
CFI.
I could jump in,
yeah.
jump in real quick. I knew what we were going to talk about today, and it was kind of serendipitous that it's not a new channel, but a new to me channel popped up on my YouTube feed of this guy out of Lexington, Kentucky is recording his private pilot training. And in that, his instructor, the topic of this episode was actually task saturation, but he was, lesson 3, lesson 4, where he was just doing steep turns and, starting to learn slow flight. And while he's going through the slow flight exercises, the instructor asked him, what's 8 times 8? And it literally was a very long pause. And then he finally said 64. And he goes, that's task saturation. Yep. This guy is, I don't know what his age is. And Ted, I'll get you the link to the YouTuber, but it was something that was just reminded me, it doesn't matter what stage of training that you're at. You're going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to pass any, you're going to be saturated with information, and you're not going to know what to do. So I just wanted to, as part of embracing the suck mentality.
Well, I think it's just great to re-encounter some deep humility, because the stakes are high. And we, on one hand, are the greatest critics of ourselves. But I think that where people really can excel is when you, and I've called this my nobody cares philosophy, but it's really easy to get caught up in comparison, which we've talked about before. How's this guy doing, or how is she doing, and how far along am I, and how many hours till I solo? And once you figure out really quickly that all of that stuff is meaningless, and it's really just about what you're doing, and you can be terrible at something, and you can feel bad when you're slamming a landing in front of a jet that's waiting to take off, and that everybody saw it. You just got to shrug that stuff off. And here's the thing. I'm saying all this now with such confidence, such certainty. I wasn't able to do this very well. And that's why I'm telling folks now that are considering starting to fly and to go down this road. I'm sure of this now because I was terrible at it. I beat myself up badly. And we have all these perfectionist instincts or just high standards. And the last thing I'll say in this segment here is just to say that don't be surprised, and have some humility about the fact that you are in fact not the whippersnapper that you used to be. I still feel like my reflexes and mental acuity and everything, I feel like I'm totally as sharp and quick as I ever was, but that's because we're on the slow timeline of decay and can't notice it. So that is why, and so it might be, and it was probably for me, and it can be for others, kind of the first thing that you've done in a long time where not only are you bad at it, but you feel like maybe I'm not cut out for this. I had that phase, and I think a lot of people do. So this is not, it's just going to be a little uncomfortable. So no. You very well might have such a level of existential dread and doubt that you didn't even understand possible, and that you may have never encountered in your entire life, because the stakes are high. Like I said, for this is not something where you're going to do slacklining and go fall off on your own or whatever. And hurt yourself only. You're going to be taking family, friends. You feel a sense of responsibility, and you don't want to cut corners. You want to do it right. So yeah, find that liberating place between nobody actually cares and what our community has dubbed the advanced dumbassery phenomenon.
I wanted to talk about Brian's Nobody Cares video. We did a fly-in dubbed that because we like the video so much, but it especially applies in this time when you are being very good at being dumb, where you feel like you just can't get anything done. And I call that for me, it was like hours 4 through 20 where I made no progress forward. And I thought, well, this isn't going to happen. I don't think that I have the brain, the physical skills to do this. And remembering that, just that concept, nobody cares. Just do it. Your instructor isn't disappointed in you. This is just work through it. And don't think about how other people are viewing you in this. Just do it. So, that's important. And if during those hours 4 through 20, if I knew about the podcast, it would help me a lot, because I didn't know anybody who was around the airport. I usually talk about the three of us. Okay, well, I guess two of us learned to fly in the COVID area when there were a lot fewer people on airports. So you have even fewer people to bounce things off of than you might otherwise. But in my case, it was that, and also was that nobody was talking about kind of the emotional side of flying, and not having people that were our age who are willing to talk about that and talk about struggling. And this is not just talking about the mechanical aspects of how you grab the yoke and the throttle at the same time. No, it's talking about the struggle. It's talking through the things that you're struggling with, radio calls, anxiety, whatever it is. And that is why a community is really helpful.
Yeah, I didn't have it either. I had my brother-in-law, but he at that time he was an 18,000-hour airline pilot, and it had been 25 plus years since he went through flight training. So I was in the same boat as you guys. I just came in a little bit before y'all.
Yeah.
So the next part that we wanted to tackle is kind of what we've just been discussing, and that's finding your tribe, finding your group, building your aviation community. It was different for me. Brian and Chris Moran, the OG, started this podcast about a year and a half after I started my training. But even with that,
sorry about that, by the way.
Even with that, it's still, I identified with 100% of the things that you guys were saying. I was just reliving what y'all were experiencing for the first time. And that was really the only difference. I knew, and I said it early on, this is my group. These people get me.
Well, I find it, I was just speaking to my wife earlier about telling her about what we're doing here for this series, and how amazing it is that we have this symbiotic relationship with the community and the support. And that she and I were talking on the same porch that I was sitting there just thinking, man, I don't know if I can do this. And I didn't have anybody to lift me up or carry me through that. So it's really amazing. Now I think,
Brian, we're going to get you through this episode. We're going to lift you up this. Yes,
thank you. I need I might physically need somebody to carry me through. So I guess what I wanted to get to also is just that, I definitely know I think that there are two types of pilots. I think there are those that tend to sort of exist in a bit of an isolation. They don't necessarily get out there and mix it up. And then I think there are pilots that are very good at that. And I just want to say that every time I go to an event, every time I go to a course, every time I attend a talk, I end up meeting people in such a way that something inevitably comes from it. It's not just, oh, nice. Oh, you like to fly too. Great. Meaningful seeds get planted. And as you do that, you'll find that you have a community. So for those that are just getting started, it's not, we have a ready-made community for you, and then get out there, go to the airport, mix it up, be a part of any environment that you're in. It will pay massive dividends, and the difference between success and failure at this entire endeavor, I think, massively relies on community and the people that you're around. Choose the right people, choose people that are safe, choose people that are in the right mindset. But yeah, have a good community.
I've got to say kind of one last thing on this. When you find your community thing, is one of the advantages of finding a community of people that are around your age is they're going through the same things in life. It seems there's a lot of people who have older kids and are transitioning from that to empty nest. We've got some people that have very young kids too, but whatever it is, you find people that have the experiences and are balancing flying with having a high-end job, not just an entry-level job so they can fly and get to the airlines. Again, I always use that example because that's such a difference in our case of trying to balance those things and trying to figure out how you can fly more and not lose your job is sometimes it's like, okay, how many days can I skip work to do training? Yeah. So let's hit Wendy's comment though. Wendy said, "Thank heavens for you guys. The community focus has been really important to the quote keeping it going for me. It means everything to know that you're not alone." And everybody's loving that. So yeah. So okay, we've talked about kind of setting the table of where you're at, what the motivations are, finding people so you're not alone in this. What's next? How do you get started? And to be clear, this is not going to be a how-to podcast or PDF, right? We're helping kind of set the stage and give you things to think about. It's not mechanically how do you find a CFI, like that type of thing. Yeah. So what do you do when you get started, or when you want to get started?
We've seen a lot of it in the Discord, in the community chat, and personally, I've experienced this. All of us will experience it at some point, but you need to understand your options overview. You need to understand the differences between a recreational pilot, a sport pilot, or a private pilot, because those are typically the three, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are the three kind of gateway drugs, starting points.
Okay, recreational doesn't exist. Don't even talk about it. It only exists in the rules. It doesn't exist as a real option. So
I got you.
Yeah, don't even think about that. Yeah.
But the point is sport or go pursue your private. And I wished I'd have done this when I started my training, but go get your medical first if you plan on going the private pilot route. A CFI will be able to tell you the privileges of a sport pilot versus a private pilot, what you can and what you cannot fly, what you can and cannot do with those two different types of licenses. But what really drives the decision between those two is whether you're able to get a medical or not. And, there's a lot of different ways. There's some really good ways to approach this, and there's some really bad ways to approach this. And Ted, I think I know where you're going with this, and I'll hand it to you in a second. But before you go get your medical, you need to ask your CFI, or maybe even better yet, go to AOPA's website and consult with their medical team, because some things could come back to bite you, right, Ted?
Yeah.
Not saying that something's bit you, but you do know this. You've gone down this road before.
Oh, no, it has. We're in midlife. We're much more likely to have medical history. And there are things that could really get in the way of you flying. And the reason that Ben says he wished he had his medical before he started is a lot of people start as a student pilot, and at some point then they get their medical so they can solo. If you have any trouble getting your medical, it means that you fly as a student pilot for a little while, and then you freeze everything for months or possibly years to get your medical sorted out. So getting the medical early is key, but the other thing is do your research before you even start that process. If you decide that getting a medical is going to be very difficult for you, and Sport Pilot, especially Mosaic, has the freedoms that you want, don't start a medical process or you rule yourself out for it. Brian?
So and I want to step back. This is really for somebody that knows nothing about any of these divisions, nomenclature, sport, private. I don't know what you're even talking about. It's kind of what I want to sort of make sure we're on here. And what I just want to, I'm going to translate Ted. What Ted is saying is flying is very expensive and really fun. No, there are different classifications of licenses or permits, or however you want, certificates that you can get that allow you to fly with different sets of privileges and limitations. Some of those are more forgiving. For example, the Sport Pilot, you only need a driver's license.
Yeah.
However, if you want to go the route of private pilot, etc., then you need to get a medical examination and deemed to be suitable for a medical by an aviation medical examiner, otherwise known as an AME. And so,
well, and the thing to keep in mind there is the reason I'm saying to do this research beforehand is if you start the medical process, you've ruled out being a sport pilot if you get denied for the medical.
Right. So
that's, yeah.
So I wanted to get to that. Basically, we are redirecting all of this conversation to the authorities. Go to aopa.org, go to faa.gov. They have all of the information there, and you can find all of the links specifically to these places for exactly what you need to figure out by downloading the PDF that we're talking about. So it's all in there, but those choices are massively important, and it's really, you can take the first step and take the wrong step. There is potentially landmines there that could nullify your entire wish to fly. So you have to walk very carefully and know what you're doing. So we're not trying to scare people. We're just trying to, there's a lot of people that, like you said, Ted, people that just hop right into training with no medical yet, pay a bunch of money, get 25 hours into it or whatever it is, they're ready to solo. You have to have a medical examination to solo if you're going to be a private pilot, not for a sport pilot, but for a private pilot. And then you might not pass the medical. You may get deferred. There's a lot of things you'll learn about and the vagaries of how medicals are handled. So be prepared, be knowledgeable. Don't do anything. Don't sign anything. Don't commit to anything until you have talked to the right people. So consult with the AOPA, consult with the CFI, consult with anybody that you believe understands what they're talking about, but do not start sending your medical records around or doing anything crazy until you've got the proper guidance.
Yeah. It's the one thing that you need that we are being explicit about. Figure this out in advance. Most of this, you're going to figure it out as you go along. The details about how to fly and how to get into it, you kind of pick up as you go along, and we help with that. But this is the thing you need to think about and learn about before you start.
Yeah. We call it the Great Medical Mystery Tour.
Yes. Very good. Well, I want to kind of wrap up this topic, if I may. We have 3 takeaways for you. This journey is about legacy, not money. Being a beginner again is liberating and humbling. And then last part, community is essential. If you're listening to this and you're an aspiring pilot, contact AOPA first at aopa.org before you do anything else when it comes to the medical. For current pilots, you now have a framework for mentoring others. Share our free PDF guide at midlifepilotpodcast.com with anyone asking about learning to fly. Next week, will be part 2, where we talk about training realities and milestone moments. And remember, midlife is a state of mind, not an age. So we're all in the midst of something.
That's right. Well said.
Thank you. So I want to tie a bow onto the last few episodes where we were talking about my flight and icing conversations and things of that nature. We did get a email from some feedback. We've gotten quite a few emails. And the first thing I want to say is everybody's been super respectful. I haven't had anybody be any type of jerk. It is yet another example of how awesome this community is. I want to call out just a couple of folks. Dan C., Drew S., just to name a few. Oh, Chris H. also.
Let me set the stage.
All have had very nice feedbacks, and that's really what I wanted to mention.
On the past few episodes, we started by talking about Ben choosing a level of risk regarding icing and normalization of deviance, and it's a good series of podcasts to listen to. You just go back a few and listen to it, and we've gotten a lot of feedback, and those are the people that Ben was thanking.
Sorry, I didn't give more context on that.
Yeah, and we don't want to turn into the call-in show that we read every feedback that comes in. Especially me, I'm tired of this topic. So, but we got feedback that was very key.
And we feel like this would be a good way to close this out. It's kind of a long feedback. Yeah. So that's why we've asked Brian to read it, because he's a better reader than Ted and I.
All right. So I'm going to give it my best. It is definitely rich in thought, and it's a good ride. And I'm glad to be reading it, honestly. So, all right, here we go. Should I do a throat clear? Nah, I'll just
send it.
All right. All right. So we received some feedback from, quote, a friend who is not afraid to tell another friend when they messed up because I want them to stay alive, end quote. And here is the message. Hi, Ben and crew. I appreciated the follow-up conversation about community and accountability. Since the episode acknowledged that the decision was wrong, I want to clearly outline why it was wrong, not as punishment, but as education. This matters because listeners often learn as much from what we survive as what we avoid. Number 1, the hazard of ice is not theoretical. Airframe icing is one of the fastest ways to lose an otherwise healthy airplane. Ice degrades lift, increases drag, raises stall speed, disrupts airflow over control surfaces, and can cause uncommanded roll or pitch changes. Even small accumulations have outsized aerodynamic consequences. The danger compounds quickly and often invisibly, and once performance is degraded, escape options shrink rapidly. Number 2, regulations prohibit flight into known icing for non-approved aircraft. The regulations are clear. Unless an aircraft is approved for flight into known icing, it may not be intentionally operated in those conditions. This is not a judgment call based on experience, forecasts, or anecdotal outcomes. Known icing includes observed icing, reported icing, or conditions where icing is reasonably expected based on all available information. Continuing after encountering ice crosses from risk into illegality. Number 3, the aircraft's POH explicitly prohibits it. The pilot's operating handbook for the aircraft involved is unambiguous. Flight into known icing conditions is prohibited. POH limitations are regulatory, not advisory. Violating them is no different than exceeding structural limits or operating with inoperative required equipment. The airplane was never certified, tested, or approved to safely tolerate that environment. Number 4, general aviation aircraft with true icing capability are exceedingly rare. Most general aviation airplanes, even those with some form of ice protection, are not meaningfully equipped to operate in icing. Limited de-ice boots, heated props, or windshield panels do not equal a certified icing airplane. True known icing approval requires extensive certification, redundancy, testing, and performance margins that almost no piston GA aircraft possesses. Number 5, even airline pilots avoid prolonged icing despite flying certified aircraft. Airline aircraft are certified for flight in the known icing conditions, yet pilots still treat icing as a high-threat environment. Prolonged exposure is avoided whenever possible. Crews actively seek altitude changes, route modifications, or exits from icing while closely monitoring performance, configuration, and system effectiveness. In professional operations, icing is treated as an anomaly that demands heightened vigilance, not as a routine condition to be accepted or normalized. Number 6, accident statistics do not mean icing is rare or acceptable. Icing is cited in only a small percentage of general aviation accidents, but that number is not low because icing is benign. It is low because pilots overwhelmingly avoid it. That avoidance artificially suppresses the raw statistics. In other words, icing accident data has a built-in ceiling. When pilots intentionally press into icing without approval or capability, the margin for recovery collapses quickly. The absence of frequent icing accidents is not evidence of safety. It is evidence of collective discipline. Lastly, number 7. Survival does not equal acceptability. The fact that a flight ends safely does not retroactively make the decision sound. That logic is exactly how normalizing deviance takes hold. Many fatal accident chains begin with pilots who got away with it before. Teaching that outcome equals validation is dangerous, especially when newer pilots are listening. Closing thought. Pilots are proudest when they fly a great flight, and often most self-aware and self-critical when they don't. The best pilots are not defined by never making mistakes, but by how honestly they confront them and allow those moments to shape the next decision, the next briefing, and the next mission. Ben is a skilled pilot, and by openly sharing this experience, he exposed his own misstep in service of the community. That takes maturity and courage. Done right, moments like this don't diminish a pilot, they refine them. I have no doubt this will make him a safer, more deliberate aviator moving forward. This isn't about a punch to the face. This is about respect, accountability, and the shared responsibility we all have when others are learning from our choices. Respectfully, Romeo Hotel, ATP, CFII, MEI, low time pilot by airline standards, type rated CL65, BE400, B757, B767, just under 6,000 hours total time, approaching 1,500 hours in the Boeing family, former Part 141 designated check airman, current airline pilot, contributing writer for Aviation Magazine's co-host, Opposing Bases, Air Traffic Talk, a friend who is not afraid to tell another friend when they messed up because I wanted them to stay alive.
Very well done. And again, not sure that there needs to be anything else said about it because he really did hit all the bases. And I appreciate the nice things he said to me towards the end. And again, I said this early on, this is somebody who I very much respect, and that I needed to hear what he had to say, and also needed to hear what he had to say in the manner in which he said it. Because, and I say this jokingly now, but now I don't put salt on my eggs without RH in my ears saying, do you need more salt on your eggs, Ben? Do you really need that sodium? So anyway, I wanted to thank him profusely for that. And looks like he's in the chat.
Well, listen. I also want to say that, your ability to bring this up and be called in particular order of these concerns, I believe there's a correlation between that being raised and the last Opposing Bases episode, which if people haven't heard, go check it out. Sign up for their super chat.
Yep.
And get on the latest stuff, because that episode was essentially, this is kind of the outline in a lot of ways, I think, of what they got into. And it was very, very well done. And
it was done from feedback from a different listener.
Different
situation, but they'd overlapped. Absolutely.
It's clearly a time of year to have this conversation. And as I'm embarking on my instrument, rating and all of that, and I should have that done here very soon, it's got me already in a better place about what things I should be looking into, and how far to stretch. I've learned that a lot of people have said you get the most mileage out of people's coming forward and putting it out there. So thank you, Ben, for being a role model to me and to many of us, because it is hard. We just spent this whole episode talking about how hard it is to learn how to fly. How do you got to navigate all these things? And then guess what, folks? Once you do it all, and then you get down the road a little bit, you're going to have a community. We didn't mention this about the community. You also have people that will call you out because they care and they don't want to see you go down a road that you shouldn't go down, or as Romeo Hotels put it, become a hole in the ground. So. Listen, Thank you, Romeo Hotel, from me specifically. I learned so much from you guys all the time, and to have this blending of worlds has been really illuminating for me. It's perfect timing for where I am right now.
Yeah, the Opposing Bases episode is OB418, Ice Chunks and Slam Dunks. I'm saying that because I'm not sure if it's out for the public yet, or if it's just in the Supercast feed, but 418 is the one we're talking about. And I wanted to highlight RH's last point about survival doesn't equal acceptability. It's been said that one of the most dangerous things you can do is get away with something, because that teaches the wrong lesson. And it is one way to think about things. I've certainly had those experiences where you're like, wow, well, I guess maybe that's okay. Well, I guess it's not okay. No, why am I considering that? So, I really thank RH for writing in, and we really appreciate them. And OB has been good for us, and they're a fantastic podcast, much better than us. They actually know what they're talking about.
We probably need to incorporate them into the Ultimate Midlife Pilot Guide. So, as far as their learning tool goes, we'll talk about that.
Hey, can we just ease people into this whole thing?
Yeah. Maybe volume 2.
Right. Yeah.
Of the Ultimate Guide of Midlifery.
Yeah.
Right. Get your certificate, and then figure out that you have so many words that you don't really know what they mean yet.
Yeah.
That's right.
I want to, before we kind of wrap up here, I want to kind of highlight one thing, which is Killing Zone Volume 3 is out. It's taken longer than it was supposed to. I think it was early summer, late spring, when the second edition kind of disappeared from the virtual shelves for reasons they couldn't sell it on Amazon and other places. And so the third volume just dropped. It's available on asa2fly.com. It's ASA. You can figure it out. And I imagine it's going to be in other places, the Amazons and bookshop.org of the world soon enough. It's something that's been key to us. Brian usually has his copy of it within reach during the podcast. He changed his room setup, so it may actually be more than 3 feet away now.
It's 3 feet away.
But it's been, there's a reason that we promote it, and we kind of come back to that in a lot of cases, and we talk about doing the Killing Zone conversations kind of extras, because it's full of all of these stories to learn from. And when I say stories, I mean actual events and crashes to learn from. And there are things that especially affect us as pilots that are flying for fun and not accumulating hours as quickly, because we're going to spend a lot more time, quote, on the top of Mount Stupid than we would otherwise. So Killing Zone 3rd edition, I understand it has a lot of changes, talking about things like automation in it, and I'm looking forward to reading it. Yeah. I remember I read it when I was in training, and then I read it immediately after I got finished my checkride, and it'd be good to read it cover to cover again with the new edition.
We'll be grabbing those copies, and we've produced several bonus audios for our Patreon members, and it's just us talking about different, I don't want to call them chapters, but different incidents, and how, we've maybe not encountered that, obviously, because we're still here, but, where we've kind of run parallel courses and can see how these accidents have come about and how to avoid them. So I'm excited to get that one and start devouring that.
Yeah.
A lot more time on my hands right now.
And to circle this right around to what we began with here today, if you're thinking about starting flying, perhaps wait a minute before you want to get the Killing Zone. It's critical. It is critical that you get this book, but just give it a second.
Yes.
And don't leave it out. Where it's just, it's a little hard for people to walk by, your spouse, whatever, and they go, "Oh, really? Tell me more about this very expensive, difficult new thing that you'd like to do." Oh, really? Is that interesting? But it is an invaluable book, and I think I have told this story in one of our Killing Zone conversations. But one of the vignettes or sort of tales in that book actually kept me from taking off with fuel caps off while I was in training. Because I remembered distinctly a story, and my instructor was saying, "Oh, we're good. He got it." I was like, no, I'm going to visually verify this. And it was a pain because we'd already started the engine, and, it was, instructors just want to get going. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I feel rushed. I'm shutting it down. Climbed up. Sure enough, the line guy had left the caps off. So, thank you, Killing Zone. There'll be many more things like that for people if you pick it up in this new edition.
Yeah, I suspect we'll be putting out a couple more Killing Zone conversations bonuses soon, based on the new book, because it'll be fresh in our minds. And
go check out our episode with Paul, the author, Paul Craig.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get him back on again soon.
Yeah. So I'll have a link to ASA in the show notes. It's available there.
Very cool. Yeah. So, closing out tonight, please don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget you can go to our website at midlifepilotpodcast.com, and you'll see a link for the PDF that we've been talking about, the ultimate guide to becoming a midlife pilot. There's also the merch store, shirts, hats, and more. Don't forget to subscribe, gentlemen. Any final comments for the good of the order?
Do you know what's new in the merch store?
No.
Yeah, we have a new shirt. It's pretty awesome, Ben. You haven't seen this?
Oh, I do remember that. And I haven't. Ted, we got to talk, because I need to get some stuff sent here. So
no, what I was talking about was what just dropped into the merch store, which is there's gift cards
available
T-shirt
now.
Gift cards. Gift cards.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Brian, did you know about that?
Yeah, sure did.
Okay.
I fulfilled it. It was a request from a listener that why don't we have gift cards? They want to give somebody a gift card. So we have gift cards now. But I just was really most proud of my conceptual T-shirt design.
Yes.
For the latest and greatest Midlife Pilot podcast shirt. It does have our logo on the back, but on the front, it just says aviation T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant. Are y'all trying to retire me from the podcast, keeping me out of the loop on new stuff in the merch store?
Hey, listen, Gramps.
Listen, I've got to find my next early bird special for this week. So no, I'm teasing. All right. I was sent an article from a friend who is also a DPE, RLH, sent me an article from the AV Web. This was accumulated by a guy named Matt Ryan. He got a bunch of quotes, but so I'm quoting from this and I'm giving them their due respect. So the cliche is depressingly true. The chances of making a superb landing are inversely proportionate to the number of people watching.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Signing off, episode 162 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Thanks to everybody in the chat for watching. We'll see you next week.